Good evening and welcome back to another episode of The Longing, where today we're going to be continuing to read the Iliad by Homer. So, let's get going, shall we? When now the Thunderer on the sea-beat coast had fixed great Hector and his conquering host, he left them to the fates in bloody fray, to toil and struggle through the well-fought day, then turned to Thracia from the field of fight, those eyes that shed insufferable light, to where the Mesians prove their martial force, and hardy Thracians tame the savage horse, and where the far-famed Hippomolgian strays, renowned for justice and for length of days. 229. Thrice happy race that innocent of blood, from milk innoxious, seek their simple food. Jove sees delighted and avoids the scene of guilty Troy, of arms and dying men. No aid he deems to either host is given, while his high law suspends the powers of heaven. Meantime the monarch of the watery main observed the Thunderer, nor observed in vain. In Samothracia, on a mountain's brow, whose waving woods o'erhung the deeps below, he sat and round him cast his azure eyes, where Ida's misty tops confusedly rise. Below fair Ilion's glittering spires were seen, the crowded ships and sable seas between. There from the crystal chambers of the main emerged he sat and mourned his Argives slain. At Jove incensed with grief and fury stung, prone down the rocky steep he rushed along. Fierce as he passed, the lofty mountains nod, the forest shakes, earth trembled as he trod, and felt the footsteps of the immortal god. From realm to realm 3 ample strides he took, and at the 4th the distant Kygei shook. Far in the bay his shining palace stands, eternal frame, not raised by mortal hands. This having reached, his brass-hoofed steeds he reins, fleet as the winds and decked with golden manes. Refulgent arms his mighty limbs enfold, immortal arms of adamant and gold. He mounts the car the golden scourge applies, he sits superior, and the chariot flies. His whirling wheels the glassy surface sweep, the enormous monsters rolling o'er the deep gambol around him on the watery way, and heavy whales in awkward measures play. The sea subsiding spreads a level plain, exalts and owns the monarch of the main. The parting waves before his coursers fly, the wandering waters leave his axle dry. Deep in the liquid regions lies a cave, between where Tenedos the surges lave, and rocky Imbrus breaks the rolling wave. There the great ruler of the azure round stopped his swift chariot and his steeds unbound. Fred with ambrosial herbage from his hand, and linked their fretlocks with a golden band. Infrangible, immortal, there they stay. The father of the floods pursues his way, where like a tempest darkening heaven around, or fiery deluge that devours the ground. The impatient Trojans in a gloomy throng, embattled rolled as Hector rushed along. To the loud tumult and the barbarous cry, the heavens re-echo and the shores reply. They vow destruction to the Grecian name, and in their hopes the fleets already flame. But Neptune, rising from the seas profound, the god whose earthquakes rock the solid ground, now wears a mortal form like Calchas seen, such his loud voice and such his manly mien. His shouts incessant every Greek inspire, but most the Ajaces adding fire to fire. Neptune rising from the sea. 'Tis yours, O warriors, all our hopes to raise. O recollect your ancient worth and praise. 'Tis yours to save us if you cease to fear. Flight more than shameful is destructive here. On other works, though Troy with fury fall, and pour her armies o'er our battered wall, there Greece has strength, but this part o'erthrown. Her strength were vain, I dread for you alone. Here Hector rages like the force of fire, vaunts of his gods, and calls high Jove his sire. If yet some heavenly power your breast excite, breathe in your hearts, and string your arms to fight. Greece yet may live, her threatened fleet maintain, and Hector's force and Jove's own aid be vain. Then with his sceptre that the deep controls, he touched the chiefs and steeled their manly souls. Strength not their own the touch divine imparts, prompts their light limbs and swells their daring hearts. Then as a falcon from the rocky height, her quarry seen, impetuous at the sight, forth springing instant darts herself from high, shoots on the wing, and skims along the sky. Such and so swift the power of ocean flew, the wide horizon shut him from their view. The inspiring god, Oileus' active son, perceived the first, and thus to Telamon: Some god, my friend, some god in human form, favouring descends, and wills to stand the storm. Not Calchas this, the venerable seer. Short as he turned, I saw the power appear. I marked his parting and the steps he trod. His own bright evidence reveals a god. Even now some energy divine I share, and seem to walk on wings and tread in air. With equal ardour Telamon returns. My soul is kindled, and my bosom burns. New rising spirits all my force alarm, lift each impatient limb, and brace my arm. This ready arm unthinking shakes the dart, the blood pours back, and fortifies my heart. Singly methinks yon towering chief I meet, and stretch the dreadful Hector at my feet. Full of the god that urged their burning breast, the heroes thus their mutual warmth expressed. Neptune meanwhile the routed Greeks inspired, who, breathless pale, with length of labours tired, pant in the ships while Troy to conquest calls, and swarms victorious o'er their yielding walls. Trembling before the impending storm they lie, while tears of rage stand burning in their eye. Greece sunk, they thought, and this their fatal hour, but breathe new courage as they feel the power. Teucer and Letus first his words excite, then stern Peneleus rises to the fight. Thoas, Dipyrus in arms renowned, and Merion next the impulsive fury found. Last Nestor's son the same bold ardour takes, while thus the god of the martial fire awakes. Excuse me. And with that, we come to the end of the episode. So, I will say my... excuse me, I'll say my throat clearing first, apparently. Yeah. We'll say my usual goodbyes. So, close this. Thank you very much for joining us today. Excuse me, I don't know what's going on there. I've got a few burps coming up. Thank you very much for joining us today. I hope you all have a wonderful morning, evening, afternoon, or night. No matter what time of day it is, I hope you all have a wonderful one of it. And as always, we will be back tomorrow for more of The Longing. Goodbye.